big questions that we have to deal with is white lights versus colored lights, or the blinking lights versus the constant lights on the tree or on the house. This is a very big issue that has been in my household for many years, and we've struggled with, I like the colored and the blinking, and my daughter would like the white and the constant and one color scheme. So, where do you stand on this very important issue?
Whatever lights aren't going to keep me up at night is really pretty much where I go. I like the bright white lights, the symbolism of purity, of the constant, the light of the world. But there's something to be said for the combination of all of the colors of the rainbow and accepting of every color. So you could probably go either way.
Well, I will say on my trees, I tend to be a purist, which means I'm with the white light, same as you, with the purity of Christ, the light of the world come to be with us. And they have to be bright and cheerful and
light and cheerful.
Flashy.
Yes, but I can hardly sleep in my house because the tree's on his light. But outside, I do have a mixture. I have all sorts of, to bring the world together, I have all sorts of colors for that.
The symbolism of the lights that we put up, bringing the light of the world into a darkened place.
That's exactly right.
So it's not important how you celebrate these traditions. It's important that we do celebrate Christmas. And so, we have different perspectives of that.
Well, the fact that here we live down in the South, where, today it's supposed to be, 70-something degrees outside, and it's warm and juicy and humid. And so we put fake icicles outside because in our North America, or European kind of thinking, it's supposed to be cold at Christmas and everything else. And so we put, twinkly white lights hanging from our shingles to mimic ice. Okay, well, Jesus was not born into that kind of setting, and there weren't big lights flashing, even with the no vacancy signs, or they didn't have those when they came into Bethlehem at that time. It said it is a picture of starkness, really. And our celebration is to celebrate that the light has come. Now we can greatly do that without all the trees and everything else, but every one of them are a symbol in some way of our relationship with God, or our relationship with Christ, or it tells us the story of who Christ is. Like our wreaths being a circle that have no beginning and no end, just as God is the Alpha and the Omega, and God's love has no end. The fir trees and all the evergreens, because God is forever. It's not a spring to fall kind of life and then it dies off, where some of the mythology of old, had the rising of the gods that came back and everything else, and all that kind of fun stuff, and even some of the symbols that we put on our trees, especially in the church where we have Chrismon symbols. We don't have a Christmas tree, we have a Chrismon tree in our sanctuary, and every one of those ornaments are a symbol of Christ upon there. So it's a celebration for us. And then we create new ones. The poinsettia is a relatively new addition to the celebration scene. They come from Mexico and everything else, but the red leaves tie us into the next season that we'll be celebrating. That's going in towards Lent and everything else. And so we have the blood of Christ, as well as, if you look at the little flowerets on there, you have the gold, and you have so you have all the you have the symbolism. But it's something that we have endued on these symbols. That's not the celebration. The celebration is the Christ child in our hearts.
So if we don't have the perfect Christmas tree, if we don't have the perfect decorations out in the front yard, if we forget to stop to buy Christmas cards and we don't send them out, and we don't have, the get-together with the family and the big meal, is it still Christmas? Does that ruin Christmas?
Not in the least. I have found that some people are actually finding it's easier, because then they can focus on the reading of the Bible more, the attending worship, the celebrating the candles. They're actually finding some clarity, and that's great for them. Whatever is helping you celebrate the season and usher in the coming of the Messiah, go for it.
And part of that is we really need to look at our celebration and make it a little simpler. instead of stressing ourselves out so much, let us remember what we're actually celebrating instead of trying to make it this mass hysteria kind of event. And of course, our media, they're driving that because, of course, it's all about marketing and everything else.
Economic elements.
It is. There was an enormous economic element in the midst of this. But we as Christians, the true celebration of Christ and his coming and the incarnation event is a moment where we just need to gather and just say, thank you, God, for the gift that we have received. Not the gift that we're trying to find at the store and wrap and just perfectly and find the perfect bow to match and everything else. But instead, it's a gift that we have received for today and all of eternity.
Well, do you have something that you would like to share with all of us? A special Christmas message. Is there something you'd like to share before we close?
Well, I'd just like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a joyous New Year. But remember that the true gift that we celebrate is the one that was born in that manger 2,000 years ago. We celebrate his birth today and each day of our lives. And so let that live in your heart and let him bring you peace, love, joy, and hope for today and every day.
Thank you. This has been Making Connections, our Christmas episode, and we'll see you later. Have a Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.